This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Fichthal. But before that, this video is brought to you by Adam Buckman and Mark DuPont. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Fichthal map, thank you Google Translate, can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for PC platforms only. Now, I have to say, I'm really not sure why this map is available for PC only. I do hope one day that console players will get access to this map because this map is absolutely stunning. Let's read a little bit of the description. Welcome to the Bavarian map, Fichthal. Again, I don't think that's how it's pronounced, but that's what Google Translate said. The hilly map is modeled on the forests and valleys of the Bavarian countryside. The More Trees mod is recommended for all forest enthusiasts. That's because there are a ton of trees on this map, and you're not going to be able to put down any additional trees probably until you nearly clear the entire map of trees. That's how many trees are put down on this map. Over 240 buyable areas, including over 50 forest areas, 131 fields, 18 meadows, 7 points of sale. Several production items are pre-installed on the map that can be bought. 1 BGA, 7 farms, 4 animal stables, and occasionally buyable buildings. What I think he means by that is that there are buyable lands that just randomly on the map have buildings on them, and none of the buildings will work until you own the land. Some new farm buildings and objects, field roads with potholes, 50 collectibles, and these are custom collectibles, and there are no mowing missions like Ai Splines to drive included. So basically, I think it means you can't send an AI helper out to drive around the map. That's kind of what I get out of that. Let's go ahead and load on in. We are going to use some mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. If you load this map up in Farm Manager mode or start from scratch, you will find the main farms. All 7 of them are pre-built exactly how you see it here in New Farmer mode, except you do not own any land, nor do you have any starting machinery in those alternate play modes. Also, if you play this map with precision farming, this map does use the French soil map that is a part of the precision farming mod. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. As soon as you zoom out, you will see that there are a fair number of fields around here. They're not very big. This is a standard size map. One of the first things that people are going to probably think is, oh, well, maybe this is a 4X map. No, it's a standard size map. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lands area. You'll see we start out by owning the main starting farm, which is over here, as well as field 1, which is directly above it. And then all of the areas that are marked with a W are basically grass meadows. Okay, they're not wooded areas, they are grass meadows. So everything you see marked here with a W is a grass meadow. Also, anything with a red dot is an alternate player farm. So we have the main starting farm here, which is 1.22 hectares in size, $468,000. We have a player farm right to the west of us, $299,000. We have one across the river, $165,000. We have another one right here, $272,000, $251,000, $191,000, and we have one playable farm to the north that is going to be $139,000. We do have a buyable biogas plant, which we could buy the land for $57,000. We will also have to buy the BGA, but we do have the ability to just buy the silage bunkers themselves here if we want, at $12,157 and $12,045. There is an interesting abandoned quarry down here, and the way you can buy the land is really interesting. So you can see we can buy the main quarry and an area kind of around the outside of it. And then we have several forested areas around it. Really interesting, the land that you can't buy versus the land that you can buy. Like there we have a buyable building. I believe there's also a buyable building right here. And we may also have a buyable building somewhere down here on one of these small plots of land. With that, let's go ahead and take a look. We do have all of our standard crop types available to us here in Farm Sim 22. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the viable farmland, how big that farmland is, if that farmland includes any fields, what fields they do include, and then ultimately how much that farmland is going to cost. You see, we start out by owning farmland 2, 53, and 237. 468,000 is the main farm. Then we have the meadow area, which is $41,600. Then farmland 237 includes field 1, which is $107,000. So we're just going to kind of slowly scroll through this list, and you'll be able to take a look at the farmlands, how large they are, what fields they include, and how much that's going to cost you. Of course, you can slow this down at any point in time, pause the video should you need to. And then what we're going to do after this is we are going to then cross-reference the field numbers with the field calculator screen, which is going to show us the actual sizes of the fields themselves. Now, looking at the field calculator again, this is going to show us all of the buyable fields, how large the buyable fields are. Then we can go back and cross-reference the field number with the farmland number to ultimately understand how much it's going to cost us to get access to the specific fields that we are interested in. A lot of these fields are less than 1 hectare in size, so we are talking about some fairly small equipment farming on this particular map. I wouldn't think you'd want to be using really anything more than probably 6-meter equipment. Take a look at our crop counter. We have the standard base game crop counter on this particular map. And if we take a look at our prices screen, you will see that we do not have the ability, sadly, to sell all of the crops that we could possibly grow on this map. In fact, we are missing the ability to sell olives. We are also missing the ability to sell grass, hay, and straw. And then as we move down through our production, we are missing the ability to sell fabric. And we are also missing the ability to sell chocolates. Now, something that we do not necessarily take off for is the ability to buy bulk lime. We do not have the ability to buy bulk lime. And we also do not have the ability to sell separated manure. So if you are playing with the pumps and hoses mod, we do not have built-in support for selling separated manure. I think the reason for that is because we don't have the ability to sell hay, straw, or grass. Typically, all of those sell points are at the animal dealer. There isn't a bale sell point at the animal dealer, and that is typically where separated manure is also available for sale. If we take a look at our vehicle overview, we start out with a decent list of starting equipment for New Farmer Mode. All of it is owned, none of it is leased, and it is all well maintained. We have a cow shed at the starting farm with no starting animals. We do have contracts available on this map. We do not own any production chains at the start, and we do have 50 custom collectibles. And the collectibles look like, they kind of look either like burned, we'll say they look like burned pretzels, or basically they're just dark colored pretzels. And I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to find one for you because I know exactly where one is. Right there. That's what the collectibles look like right there. They kind of look like black polka dotted pretzels. So I don't know if the white is supposed to be salt or what that is, but there we go. $1,000 for our collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the John Deere 7810 medium tractor. We have the Fendt Vario 930 large tractor. We also have the Nova 330 harvester that is paired up with the Power Stream 500 grain header. We have the Welger DK115 trailer. We have the Amazon 4000 Super Cultivator, the Kuhn HR4040 Power Harrow. That is paired up with the Vento 4030 Seeder. We've got the Amazon ZATS 3200 Fertilized Spreader, the solid fertilized spreader. We have the Brantner TA 12050 Power Spread Plus Manure Spreader. Then we have the FarmTech 800 Slurry Tanker. We have the GMD 4411 Side Mower and the GMD 3123F Front Mowers. We have the Alpine Hit 4.4H Tedder. We have the GA 4731 Windrower. We also then have the Boss Alpine 251 Forage Wagon, the Silo King TMR Mixer, the RA 142 Mixer, as well as the MKS 8 Liquid Milk and Water Tank. We have the Hauer XB 150 front loader arms, and then for the front loader we have a universal bucket and bale spike, and then we round it all out with a 750 kilogram front weight. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, you will see that there are no custom vehicles or implements that are included with this particular map. But before we go and take a look at the farm tour, I do want to go into the build mode, because this map includes quite a bit of custom buildings. Over here, a little bit of clearing. So under sheds, we have a large array of custom buildings that are available on this map. And I have to say, none of these buildings, as best I can tell, are using the new texturing technique. But daggone, these buildings are very, very good. They've got some really high-res textures. They look really, really good close up. We've got several buildings that are custom on the map that we can put down. Like that. And it just keeps going and going and going. We do have a custom farm silo. Holds 350,000 liters of product. No custom silo extensions, containers, tools. Sorry, tools. We do have a log stanchion for storing logs. No custom productions. No custom greenhouses, orchards, or generators. We do have a custom cow shed that holds 120 cows. And this is the custom cow shed that is at our starting farm. Horses, pigs, sheep, and chickens are all base game stuff. Under decoration, they're all just standard base game items. And then if we take a look at our plants, we're looking at just a few paintable plants. And then we have a few round textures that we can also put down. Now I'm just going to kind of run over here, because the main farm is right down the street from where we spawn in at. In fact, that is the main farm right over there. So here we are, guys, at the main starting farm. Everything on all 7 possible player farms can be sold. All of the buildings you see here can be sold. All of the deco elements vanish when you sell the appropriate buildings on all 7 player farms. I went through and I checked all of them. That way you don't have to. We've got our farmhouse here with our sleep trigger. We also have a wardrobe trigger around the side. These really awesome sheds. Yeah, so they might not be using the new texture technique, as best I can tell. I don't think they are. But man, are these textures really, really good looking. I mean, you get right on up to them. They don't look that bad. These doors do open. Some of them have a little bit of a delay, so be a little patient when you're opening up these buildings. We have our workshop trigger. Coming over here to our farm silo. So we have our dump station and our fill pipe for the farm silo. Like I say, some of these buildings have a wee bit of a delay on the doors. Let's just have a little bit of patience. Here we have our cow barn. Our cow barn has 2 levels. We have storage up top for bales or implements, whatever you want up here. We have handy dandy drop access down here to the food trough for the food trigger. And then if we want, we can go down our ladder to get to some storage side of the barn. So we have our milk trigger around the side here. We have our drop-off point for our cows. 120 cows available in this building. Right on the side, at our ramp, we have our slurry point to pick up our slurry. And then our food trough is right here. Again, we have that opening from above that we can just drop bales down in order to feed. We have a silage bunker. And then we have a manure heap. And that is pretty much the starting farm. And boy, I mean, like, these buildings, they just thoroughly impressed with how these farms look. We can sell the fence here, and the fence sells in its entirety as one item. Okay, so watch this. We're going to go to build mode. We're going to click on our fence. We're going to say, do you want to sell it? Yep. And there it goes. The whole fence is gone. We don't have to be bothered with selling one little bit sections at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up. Oh, wait. We're not going to get set up. I do this oftentimes. We need to go back up here and we need to take a look at our soil map. As I said, this map is using the French soil map that is a part of the Precision Farming mod. So let's go and see how that gets applied to the fields. Well, we've got a fair bit of silty clay and loam down in the southeast corner of the map. That's where we start out, and that's where 3 other player farms are located. To the north, those fields are mostly silty clay once again, with a bit of loam down to the south. Now, then the entire center of the map is mostly loam, sandy loam, and loamy sand. So before we get on to the fly around portion, I do want to take a look again at the 7 player farms. Down here in the southeast corner of the map, we have the starting farm that we start out with. That, of course, has the custom Bavarian cow shed that is a part of this farm build. Across the street from that, we have a more modern cow area. We have the large cow barn from the base game. Across the river from that animal area, we have a ag farm, kind of an agricultural farm only, that does not have any animals built in. Along the river over here to the west, we then have a large pig barn within this particular farm. And then further to the west, we have another arable farm that does not have any animal areas, just has a base game farm silo and some custom farm buildings. Then further to the west, as far south and west as we can get for our farms, we then have a sheep farm with a base game large sheep barn. And then the farm to the north, which is right by this meadow area and right beside field 97. This is going to be another arable farm that's going to have a workshop trigger. So with that, let's get on with the fly around. Let's go ahead and take a look around. And one of the things that we're going to find is the large section of the southern part of the map is covered in this dense hilly forest area. And directly to the south, there is a really interesting abandoned quarry, we'll call it. It's been abandoned for a little bit of time because, well, there's trees growing up in it, and it's really, really well done. I want to make sure that we definitely point that particular area out. We've got the main farm down below. Interesting building layout. Definitely not geometric. I mean, like on 90-degree angles and such. We've got another farm right down there. That's the more classic cow barn. And then right across the street, we have that other arable farm. A little bit further down the road, then we have the pig farm and the other arable farm. And then around the corner, we've got a sheep farm. But the map really has been done well. In fact, if you come over here to the edge, these trees extend beyond the edge of the map. So there we go. So now we're pretty much at the edge of the map. And we have all these trees placed. Okay? We're at the edge of the map right now. And everything to the left is off the map boundary. All of these trees are outside the map boundary. But at a normal player height, it gives you the illusion that the forest just goes on and on and on. So let's loop back down here to the south. We have a grain sell point down below. And what's interesting about this sell point is there appears to be what should be a functional bale sell point here. The markers are there, but the trigger doesn't work. So I think this was to have been the bale sell point. And if the bale sell point did work, right, then we would be able to sell our grass, hay, and straw and our separated manure right here. But for some reason, this is not functioning. Hopefully the map will get updated and that will be working in the future. We have a sell point down here. This is for our stones. So the stone crusher is located underneath the shed there. This is where we're going to come to take our stones. And then we're going to wind up here. We got the road over here to our right. And then down in this hole is our abandoned quarry. And it's definitely worth a visit. That's why we're going to take some time and come down in here and take a look at this. If we do own the land, we will have the use of that shed, that building there. We do have to buy the land before we'll be able to make use of that building. But we come down in here and we've got trees growing everywhere. It's partially covered in with water. Down here at the back, there's a pile of stone that was just never cleared out. Right here, it's got some grass growing up on it. On this ledge, we've got some trees of various heights growing up here. You know, down here, we've got where some smaller trees are. We've got some stumps where they've come in and clearly cleared out this area a bit. It's just really, really well done. And look at this forest. Platinum expansion is just a few weeks away. There's a good chunk of this map that is forest. I mean, just look across and see all of those trees. Got the little town down there. We've got our farm over there to the right. We've got an abandoned castle kind of in the center of the map up on the rock. We've got these wonderful fields that are kind of buried back in the woods. I've said time and time before that, you know, what I really, really, really like is when you come up, like right here, we've got a road, right? You're coming up through here, driving in with a tractor, driving in with a truck. And then you just come to this clearing, and there you go. And while you're back here working in this field, well, all the problems of the world just vanished because this is your world right here. For a day, a few hours, this is your world. That out there, that's not your world because you're back here in the middle of nowhere. Love it when we have fields kind of buried back in a forest, in a bit of a clearing. Down here we have another one of those sheds. This one has some log stanchions, I'll call it, right beside it. So I'm sure if we buy this land, we'll have use of this building as well. Got more fields, again, scattered back in here. Field 43 is on our left, and then W, that again is grass meadow. Really, really well done. I mean, this is a spectacular map. If all you do is download this map and drive around it, it's well worth the time to download. So over here we have a secondary. There's 3 towns on this map. 3 towns on this map. I can't pronounce the names of them, but here's one of the towns. We have 3 medium greenhouses down here. Let's go ahead and talk about the production that's available on the map. We have 3 medium greenhouses. We also have a dairy. We have right there. We have 2 carpentry facilities. We have a grain mill. And we have a biogas plant. So we have a sell point. That's the animal dealer down there. We have the grain mill. We have the carpentry facility. One of the carpentry facilities there. Here we have one of the arable farms. And actually, that might be the... Yeah, that's the arable farm. Sheep farm is... Sheep farm is over here. I couldn't see the little red dot. So here in the middle, this might be a really, really nice farm to have. Kind of tucked away again back here in the wooded area. You got a little sheep farm going on. Got some fields back here. Again, a massive, absolutely massive forest. This whole left side of the map is forest. There you can see the lower part of the map that's forest. Castle again. So we're coming up here to the player farm that's in the northwest. This is another arable farm. It has the farm barn that is a farm silo. It's located right here. We can sell, again, everything that's on all of these farms. Got a sell point. We have our biogas plant. And remember, from looking at the map, we can buy the biogas plant land. We can buy the biogas plant itself. And then we can also buy the land that these 2 bunkers are on individually. So if we only wanted to use the silage bunkers, we could buy just the silage bunkers part and make use of that. We could buy the land itself and put something else down. Then we could buy the biogas plant and make use of that. The map is definitely not flat. We've got undulating land on the fields. Multiple terrain heights for the forest and forested areas. Of course, we have our big castle up here. Let's talk about our scoring metrics. We're going to give the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. We have 8 production items built in. We have 2 carpentry facilities. We have a grain mill, a dairy again, and we have 3 medium greenhouses and the biogas plant. We're going to give the map 3/4 of a point because we do not have the ability to sell olives. We have what appears to be a broken bale sell point, so we can't sell grass, hay, or straw. As far as the productions go, we cannot sell fabric, nor can we sell chocolate. So we will have to take off a 1/4 of a point for those things. We can sell a fair bit of other things. Here we have a sawmill and a wood chip sell point. This is not a production point. That is solely a sell point. We're going to give the map a full point with respect to the farms being customizable. There are 7 distinct player farms built on this map, and all 7 of them we can build, or we can basically sell everything on the land. Look at this. We've got a clearing here. This is really well done. Very, very well done. I mean, the map author, I think, has a very good eye for recreating reality, if you will, in Farm Sim. So here we have a sell point. This is where a lot of our production items are going to be able to be sold. We have our starting farm here, and then we're going to come back full circle to town. We have a grain sell point over here to our right, and then just past the church, we have the second carpentry facility, and then we have our vehicle dealer. So we have our dealer buy point. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. Right front door. There we go. We got a nice spawn point for our vehicles right at the front door. Decent area for vehicles to spawn in at. I don't know. You may run out after a half dozen or so things spawning in here. We've got our maintenance, customized, repair, sell, and repaint trigger, their dealer trigger, right here, right up front. But the size of these fields are fairly small. I think this would be a really, really good multiplayer map for a group of players that are looking to play small. 4-meter equipment, 5-meter equipment, no bigger than 6-meter equipment. On this map, you could have, each player could have their own distinct farm, lots of fields, lots of forestry going on here. I think it would be awesome. Really great multiplayer map. So we've got one of our carpentry facilities. Of course, we have our log sell point, or wood sell trigger. We have our pallet spawn point for our planks, and our interactive icon here at the front door. I think the map does an excellent job with its terrain and height elevation changes. I have absolutely no idea where this road is going to go, but I'm just going to take it anyway, because I kind of just want to experience a bit more of this map from the ground level. With respect to buildings using the newest texture technique as well as ground textures and such, we're going to give the map a half a point. I think the buildings at the custom farms are really, really awesome. I don't think they're using the new texturing technique, but they still look really awesome. So here we've got some of those random buildings just kind of scattered around that we can make use of. So we are going to knock a half a point off. If it turns out that they are using the new technique, then you could just, in your mind, add a half a point to the score. And that's where it would have been. That metric was put in place mostly for the aspect that in 19 we were seeing a whole lot of maps using very, very old game textures that were just super blurry, super low res. These buildings are not. These custom buildings are nothing but very, very nice textures. But like I said, when I get up close to them, I don't see the telltale signs of the ambient occlusion going on. So if you look down here, you can see some telltale signs that ambient occlusion is going on just by how the rocks are puffed up out of the ground. When you get up to a building that has ambient occlusion, like this one here, you can kind of tell where the boards are, that it is depressed in, right? But when we get over to this building and we get up to those boards, we don't have that same effect. These boards look exceptionally good up close, but we don't get that same effect. So it's a little bit of it's a little bit of tat, basically. You give, you take. We're going to take points away because we're got to be a little bit consistent with respect to all the other maps that we have scored using that same general metric. In the end, does it deter from the map, from the gameplay? That's up for you to decide. I would very much play this map at a moment's notice if we didn't have Platinum expansion coming. But the fact that we have Platinum expansion coming means that I wouldn't be able to put more than a few days on this map before Platinum dropped. And I don't think that would be fair to this map, and that's why we're not going to start it. So here we have our sawmill, we have our log drop off, we have our log cell trigger. You saw the front of the building, we had our wood chip trigger. Let's see if we can make our way around. Oh, no, we can't. That is the map edge. Daggone, I would have not even known that was map edge if those X's didn't even come up. I was going to try to make my way around to the other farm that's in the northwest, but we'll have to take this road instead, I guess. I'd love to know your all's comments down in the comments below on this map. I'm blown away. I'm blown away at the visuals. I'm blown away at the sight lines, the elevation, the lay of the land, the lay of the forest. We'll come back to that sell point, but here we have that northwest farm. No farmhouses on these other farms, but we have the northwest farm. Again, all of these custom sheds, custom barns. We have to buy the land before these will work. There we go, get right up on top of that one. Thought that was a door, but okay. Then around the back we have our grain dump and our fill, because this is also a farm silo. The fact that we can place these buildings down means that we could sell any of these and rearrange the farm however we wanted. Or if we didn't have enough choices, we could find some land somewhere, clear some forests somewhere, and build out our own farm with, again, these custom buildings. We have one of our grain sell points. Let's make our way over to the biogas plant. Now there's a hot spot up at the castle, but I think it's more just kind of an informational thing. So we have our biogas plant. Let's see how much this is going to cost us. $700,000. So our digester, we have our dump point for slurry, we have our digestate fill point. We can buy the land, we can put some small items down here. And then we can buy those 2 silage bunkers to dump things in, or we could sell those silage bunkers and put our other design bunkers down if we like some other designs better. Like this road. This road is a perfect example of just how nice or how awesome I like this map. It's just winds, it goes through elevation changes, winding through the countryside. We've got a barn over here. If we buy this land, we can make use of that barn. It's just, we got some random gecko round bales just kind of hanging out over here. Make our way over to town number 2, and we've got a few farms over here in town number 2. So we have 3 greenhouses that are buyable, and then we can make use of these 3 greenhouses. There you go. That's the name of this town. We have a gas station. We have our dairy over here. So we have our standard base game dairy. We have our interactive icon right on the front. Of course, our dump station around the back, and our pallet spawn point also around the back here. We have just a random silage bunker in here we could buy and make use of. Here we have one of the arable farms again. This time we have a base game farm silo, but it's got this building over it. So we have a shed, a roof covering our dump and fill points. And we have all of our custom buildings here that we've seen at various other farms. Oh, we have what it would be, what looks like it could have been. Oh, no, this is the animal dealer, sorry. So here we have the animal dealer. Well, thank you very much, Sir Moo Cow. I was seeing the bales there and I thought, oh, could this be a second bale sell point that's just defunct? But no, it's the animal dealer. Here we have our grain mill. This is our production. We have our dump point. We have our interactive icon. We have our pallet spawn point. We have our second carpentry facility. And we have our interactive icon, our log sell point, our wood sell trigger, and our pallet spawn point. See if we can make our way over to the sheep farm. I'm going to do it in cab because I want to I want to experience the drive into the sheep farm like I think the map author intended you from the ground. Growing up, I lived back in the woods. We had a fairly long driveway. We had to walk uphill both ways to get to and from school. Yes, that was indeed the case. And man, this really just feels so good coming in here like this. So we got a modern sheep shed. So our wool spawn point. We have our food trough, and then we have our sheep. We're going to get 65 sheep in this building. Plenty of shed space for machinery and such for a little sheep farm. And then we can farm fields 56, 57, 55, and 54. Through here, we also have a little bit of grass meadow out here by the main road. This road here along the edge of the hillside was likely going to take us around to 56 and 57. I was so impressed with this map. I looked to see what other maps this particular map author had made for Farm Sim 22. This is it. I didn't have a chance to look back in FS 17, or sorry, 19. I didn't look back at FS 19 and see if he had made any maps under that name in 19. I didn't think about it until just now. But man, if this is his first map, good on you, man. Good on you. All right, let's make our way back east. Trying to make our way back east. I thought that was a road. It wasn't a road, but it takes us out to a nice fishing point. Oh, we just come out here and fish. Fish. So we need fishing. And farming simulator. Do we not? We got talent is what we got. We got talent. Way down here. Down yonder. In the boondocks, we've got another grain sell point. Right here. We have the watermill sell point. We've got a manure heap just kind of randomly hanging out over here. We've got another animal farm we need to... We should have turned there and came down. Let's jump over there. Will this take us to it? Oh, here it is. Here we are. This is a big farm. So we've got a modern shed. A couple modern sheds. Here, 3-bay garage. We've got our large pig farm. 270 pigs in this facility. So we have our manure heap. We have our food trough. And then, of course, we have our slurry point around the side. This is a really cool area. This old stone bridge you got to come through. Coming down along here. Oh, let's see if this road will take us up out of it. Hopefully it's a pull in, pull out kind of an access road. There we go. That's awesome. And now we're making our way back into town. So we have our carpentry facility on the left. We have our shop on the right. Continue up the main road till we get to our grain sell point. It's right around the corner. A little tight in there. Make our way down. Across the stone bridge. This stone bridge we saw on the preview image of the map when it loads up. So here we have the more modern cow barn. We've got a silage bunker. We've got a little shed over here. $80 cows in this facility. Go back across the bridge because we've got this other arable farm right across the bridge. Right here. So we have our silo again with the little shed with the roof over it. Really cool custom buildings. We have our starting farm over here on our left. This is how we came in at the start of the video. Yeah, just another few points of interest. Over here we have our grain mill. With our dump station. We have what I think was a defective or defunct bale sell point. Hopefully that'll get fixed in a update soon. We have a windy road that's going to take us up and around into the forest. Here we have our stone sell point. Then as we drive to the final point of interest, this is up by field 8 and 9. We're going to talk about the final scoring metric, which is respect to the player and interactive triggers being clearly marked. And I want to say yes, they are. We even have a clearly marked non-functioning trigger. If anything, maybe I should take a little bit of points off because we have a non-functioning trigger over here at what might be the bale sell point. So overall, we're going to give the map a score of 4.25 out of 5. A very respectable score. I think it could easily be bumped up to 4.5 out of 5 if we had the ability to sell olives, and if we had a working bale sell point, then we'd be able to sell our hay, straw, grass, and separated manure. If we're playing with pumps and hoses, we would still have the issue with not being able to sell fabric. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the ability to sell chocolate, especially since we have a dairy pre-placed on the map, right? We should be able to sell chocolate since we have a dairy pre-placed on the map. I suspect that is possibly another slight mix-up with the map, and again, maybe that will hopefully be fixed in a future update. So here we have the last sell point. This is the intermediaries. And the intermediaries is a sell point that is going to be taking most of our finished products. So guys, that's going to do us for this map tour. I would love to know your comments down below. What do you think of this map? Are you going to put this on your next to be played playlist? Have you been drawn in by the visuals? The lay of the land, the way just the curvy roads coming up through the forest, the fields hidden back in forest area, that maybe the farms, like the sheep farm that's just back in the middle of the forest. And until next time, happy farming.